May I have your attention, please?
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Jose Shorty Torres, the Titan FC Flyweight Interim Champion.
Hey, everyone, it's the champ, Yuri Naraj.
Hey, this is Rafian Stott.
It's Bellator's Blair Tugman.
This is Bilal Muhammad.
Hey, guys, this is Ted Check.
This is Ron, Choir Boy Solomon.
Hey, guys, it's Brennan Allen.
This is Joseph Correa, founder of Frontproof Media.
Hey, this is Ed Carbajal.
Daniel Zaldivar from Frontproof Media and Frontproof Media.
Frontproofmedia.com.
You're listening to
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil and
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil
MMA.
MMA. You're listening to Pure Evil MMA.
You're listening to Pure Evil MMA.
Welcome back to Pure Evil MMA, episode number 49. I can't even believe it. We have an amazing show set up for you today. I'm your host, like always, Evil Eddie from FrontProofMedia.com and MMA UK. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. We have a great show with Adam Meredith, Erion Zethko, and Vanessa Demopoulos. Also, guys, we have a lot of news to break down. It's been a little while since I've been in the studio, so happy to be back where I belong. It's been a crazy week here. We got Bellator, UFC to discuss, and it was a crazy week. Not only that, guys, we have updates with the giveaway that's going to be going down, and this is the last episode I'm going to tell you guys. So by next week, we're going to have 2 winners. We're going to discuss that and much more. We got some members of the week to discuss, and also UFC Pick'em. So make sure you guys sit back, relax, and most of all, I hope you behaved yourself. Welcome back. Once again, I hope you all behaved yourselves. Welcome back, guys, to Pure Evil MMA. If you are a new listener to the show, make sure you guys subscribe down below, and we're doing a giveaway. So I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do, and you could be the winner of a Rick Glenn t-shirt that he actually sent to us. We're going to give 2 away. So listen closely. If you're new or if you're a long-time listener, all you have to do, go on Apple iTunes, search Pure Evil MMA. You're already halfway there. You're here on the show, aren't you? Give us 5 stars and give us a rating. And I'm going to give 2 t-shirts away to the most honest review that I read. We already got a bunch in, but I'm only going to leave it up to 1 more week. So 7 days. Today is the 29th. So we're about to break into June. We got UFC 213 coming up. Or 212. What is it? 212? UFC 213? Oh my goodness. Like, it's just been flying by. We're already halfway through the year right now. It just feels like we just had UFC 200, and that was last summer. Absolutely crazy. We are just getting through watching UFC Stockholm. What an amazing performance by Alexander Gustafsson, going in there against Glover Teixeira. I was a little worried about Glover Teixeira, though, in this fight, because if we look at his last fight, he was looking a little slow, looking a little stiff, not himself. And I was wondering if that was because of the recent knockout that he suffered from Rumble Johnson. I think that was like within the first minute of that fight, he hit that uppercut and just dropped Glover. You know, I don't know if he had enough time, but of course, I'm from Connecticut. I want Glover to win. But when you're going in there with someone like Alexander the Mauler Gustafsson, who's long, lanky, he likes to use those icy, sharp elbows. He's always slipping. Tonight, though, or this morning, I should say, he was making Glover Teixeira look like a rookie, just landing uppercut after uppercut, always leaving it open. Glover just couldn't put it together. He was just loading up. I don't know what was going on. You know, and a lot of people are going to be shouting out and being like, oh, Glover should retire. They say this about a lot of fighters out there. When you're competing at the elite of the elite and the top of the elite in the UFC, especially in that weight division, you got to give these guys a lot of credit. Just because he didn't win the fight doesn't mean he should retire. I never agree with that. And you'll never hear me say to anybody that they should retire. Ever. Glover Teixeira gets knocked out in the 5th and final round. In the 3rd round, I thought he was going to get finished. Somehow he was able to pull through. Then we got to the 5th round. Glover Teixeira just shut down, just kept himself open for that uppercut. 3 in a row, and then Alexander Gustafsson ends it with a hook. Absolutely crazy. We got some winners for our UFC Pick'em. So let's jump into that. Minion standing by to deliver the segment.
Since 1993, MMA fighters from all over the world have gone into battle, shedding blood, sweat and tears to prove that they are worthy of holding the title of champion. At every UFC event, as the fighters throw down in the octagon for our entertainment, each hoping to validate that they are the best by someday having a UFC belt strapped around their waist. A second competition rages amongst the Pure Evil army for the right to lay claim to the prestigious Crystal Skull belt, for ultimate pick-em bragging rights over their evil brothers and sisters in arms. And this week, after climbing their way to the top of the Pure Evil ranks, the prominent honours of the Crystal Skull are awarded to...
It was so close that we actually have a tie between the Pazman and Max with 1,865 points. Congratulations, guys. You definitely deserve your shout out. If you are new to the show and you want to play next week on UFC Pick'em, all you got to do is go to Pure Evil MMA on Twitter and find the link for UFC Pick'em, and you can have your name shout out here on the next episode of Pure Evil MMA. And of course, that's going to be Jose Aldo versus Max Holloway. Congratulations to the Pazman and Max. You are this week's winners of the Crystal Skull. Alright guys, it looks like we have our first guest of today's show calling in right now. We got Crystal Vanessa Demopoulos, who's coming off a 59-second win at Tough Enough. She was just at the UFC Fighter Retreat and actually stayed with Miesha Tate, so we're going to have to pick her brain about that. Let's jump right into it. She's on the line right now. Let's pull her in. Alright guys, so I got a special guest here joining us today on Pure Evil MMA. Crystal Vanessa Demopoulos. Is that how you pronounce your last name, or am I totally off?
No, you got it right. It's Demopoulos. Good, nice job on the first try.
And congratulations on your last win. I saw that you got a 59-second finish for Tough Enough.
Heyo, that's right.
And then following that, you had a pretty good adventure. But first, let's jump into a little bit of your background. Like, how long have you been into mixed martial arts? Was it karate? I mean, when did this all start for you?
So it started maybe, I'd say approximately 7.5 years. I started kicking into Muay Thai fighting, and just started off doing kickboxing, wanting to kind of get in shape. And that led into helping out at an MMA gym, and they had jiu-jitsu, and people just kind of started to encourage me to get into MMA, and I was like, sure, yeah, I can do that. You know, just punch people in the face and end the fight that way. They're like, no, you kind of need to learn jiu-jitsu to do MMA. So reluctantly so, I started getting into jiu-jitsu, and that journey's been about 5 years now. And yeah, just kind of been hitting that scene a lot harder than the Muay Thai scene, I guess.
Well, through your journey, I mean, there's been so many women that have paved the path, like Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate, who actually saw, you know, invited you to her house the other day after the UFC had their little athlete retreat.
Yeah, that was actually really awesome for me, I guess, getting to meet Miesha in person. It was funny how that ended up happening, just through connections, and, you know, my coach knew her coach, and we needed somewhere to kind of crash, and Miesha was so awesome to open up that door for us. But she's just cool, you know, like she was just another person, like, but yeah, just like being a part of this level and starting to kind of grow and meet the right people and, you know, get into the right atmosphere. I got to go to the athlete retreat for the UFC, where there was a Snoop Dogg concert happening, and that was awesome. Getting to, you know, shake some hands and just be around people who are doing something in the field that I'm like aspiring to dominate. So just putting myself into that atmosphere is absolutely freaking awesome. Like, there's nothing like that. You got to get around people who are doing the same thing that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And the one thing I love about you is I follow you on Snapchat, and you always have some really great advice out there. So everyone should definitely go check out your Snapchat. Can you give your tag really quick for everybody that's listening?
Yeah, it's Monster Demo. So Monster Demo, super simple.
So let's jump back into the UFC retreat there. What was that like? I mean, I was following a whole bunch of the fighters there. You know, Charles Rosa, who's been on our show before. Owale Bamboje was there. Everyone. I mean, Cyborg obviously was there. There was a whole fiasco with that. But, you know, getting into it, I mean, you know, the Snoop Dogg concert and everything, I mean, that was just a fun experience for all the fighters around. Even some of the fighters that weren't in the UFC. I saw some, you know, Titan fighters there. I even saw, you know, just even lower level fighters. It wasn't just the UFC. So what was that like for you being with the big dogs, kind of?
Man, you know, it was really, really incredible. Like I said, just getting around people who are doing the same thing as you, but just being in that atmosphere, because I'm not there yet. And currently, as we speak, I'm still an amateur fighter. I am looking to go pro here soon, but just to know, like, this is what I have to look forward to. And I was definitely making sure to talk to people while I was there and gauging attitudes and mindsets, gauging personalities, you know, not from a competitive aspect, like, oh yeah, like these people are my competition, but from the aspect of like, this is, you know, they've gotten to where they are for a reason. You know, I've seen people who have incredible talent who don't get to sit in that same room, you know, so what makes these people special? And that was incredible for me, being able to be there and just like getting to interact with them. And I mean, obviously, like, you're at a concert, like, shit's cool and relaxed and everything, but you got to take advantage of those opportunities while they're there. So that was one thing that me personally, I was definitely embracing the most out of. And yeah, like you said, though, there were a lot of people there that maybe weren't in the UFC that I recognized and got to see, who like I've trained with in the past. And it was just really cool to know that, you know, all of us are on the right path, and that's where we will be very soon.
You know, for anybody out there that, you know, kind of can't relate, I mean, I can relate to this. And in the sense of when I was on the football team, when we'd go to, you know, colleges and check out or hang out with the college football teams, or even when I was in high school and I got to sleep over at college for the first time, I was like, wow, this is where I want to be. This is the vibe, and this is what I need to do to get there. So it kind of helps you wrap your head around, you know, making some goals for yourself. And like you were just saying, you're an amateur right now, but you also train with a pretty wide group of people over at the GF team, the grappling fight team. Who are some people that you train with over there?
Fuck yeah. Some of the, like, definitely the superstars, Vitor Oliveira, who is currently ranked, I believe, he was number 6 for 2016, if I'm not mistaken, or 2015. You know, he won Masters Worlds. Victor Silverio, who is super high-level black belt in the middleweight division, crazy awesome competitor. Jake Shield. I have trained with Jake Shields before, but Jake McKendy right now is GF team, who I'm training with, who's out there, and I think he was ranked number 2 black belt overall 2 years ago in 2015, which was an awesome year for him. So it's just, you know, it's a room full of just like world beaters and you know, animals in there, and it's just really, it's an honor to be in that room. Laura Hollick right now, she's a black belt, and she's climbing the ranks fast, you know, so just being around people who are really grinding and pushing, and they know what it is to be a champion, you know, like they know everything that it takes to get in there and to be the absolute best, and they're not going to settle for anything less as far as pushing each other, because we are all one unit. You know, the harder we all push, the better we'll all compete. So it's really cool to be in the right room.
And well, of course, it's a must that you have to be a well-rounded fighter. You have to know your jiu-jitsu, your Muay Thai, and all that. But the one thing that really stands out about you through all of it, that is definitely going to give you the upper hand, especially in 2017 as we march our way into 2018, is how open you are and connecting with your audience, and social media plays such a huge role in that, When, people like, Shannon Knapp, when they're looking for people for Invicta, they're looking for people that connect with the audience as well as go in there and put on an exciting fight. And I think you definitely stick out with that, on your Snapchat with some of the good advice. And you're always grinding. You're always doing something. And I saw that you were just in Vegas, of course, and you just went bungee jumping. I mean, what was that like? That's crazy.
Man, thank you so much for that compliment. Like, that's just really cool because for me, it's just out there living life, like I'm doing my thing. Like you said, I'm always working hard, man. And, it's just really cool that everybody's so encouraging. For me, connecting with other people, it kind of gives back to me too, because, I get people who hit me up all the time. Like, you inspire me because of, I see you working hard all the time. So that only inspires me more to be more open and to be more bold and, to allow people to share this life with me. And getting to experience different places all around the world. Like when I was in Abu Dhabi last month and being able to be in Vegas and jumping off of a freaking 855-foot building. That was fucking insane, man. Like you're getting up there and they're tying you in and it's like, you really start to question like your life choices that have brought you to this moment of jumping out of a fucking building. Like I just I fought the day before. I get in the cage with somebody who is legitimately trying to do bodily harm to me and punch me in the face knowingly and like locking myself in here. And yet like now I'm fucking harnessing and I survived that shit. Now I'm fucking harnessing myself in to jump out of this like one of the tallest buildings in Vegas. That was out of control. Yeah. So, and it's like, life is going to come, life is going to go. Danger is going to happen regardless of whether you put yourself in the fire or not. So let's have some fucking fun with that shit because you only live here once, right?
Exactly.
So.
And yeah. Any day that you walk out the door, it could be your last day. So you definitely got to take everything and count your blessings, especially. And like you're saying, you're on the top of your game right now. You're really happy. You just got that 59-second win. But of course, with the wins, you also have to embrace, the downsides of it too, because it's fighting. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. There's no in between. Well, there are ties and stuff like that, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
Sometimes you're going to lose out there, and you got to be able to deal with that. So for anybody out there listening, we have a lot of other amateurs listening, or even, high school athletes, whoever's out there, how do you deal with, the other side of the table, when you have to experience, whether it's a loss or just having a bad day? What do you do to make sure your mind stays in the right spot?
Yeah, man. Losing sucks. And I think it sucks in any regard. It doesn't matter, whether it's MMA fighting or, if you lose a chess match. I mean, it's losing. It's still losing. And I have lost an MMA fight, and I have lost jiu-jitsu matches. And I think, the hardest thing is all of the work that you've put in leading up to those moments. And, when I lost my fight against Caitlin Chikagian, who's currently... Yeah, she's undefeated in the 135 division right now for the UFC. So she's a fucking certified badass, and losing to her, like at the time we were both amateurs and I poured my heart out, and there's no shame in going out there and giving absolutely everything that you have. Like, you got to leave it all on the table. Like, fuck it, man. If you're going to lose, you better lose like a goddamn champion. Like, you better fucking go out there and just know that there was nothing that you could have possibly done differently. There's nothing more you could have given of yourself and poured out into that to have changed those outcomes. And knowing that it's okay. Like, you're not always going to be the best person every single day of the week, but you got to show up, and you got to show up with the best person that you have on that day. And if you walk away from a loss, you better walk away with some growth. You better know, you know what? I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to see what I did wrong. I'm going to evaluate my mindset, and I'm going to continue to grind through it. And not every single day is going to be beautiful. Not every single day you're going to be in the gym and just be a freaking rock star. Most of the days suck, but I'd rather have those shitty ass days in the gym than have them when I'm during a tournament or a competition. So,
well, when you go through the bad storms, like we said, there's two sides. So when you're going through the bad, of course, you got to work hard and you're going to get to the good. And when you're doing good, sometimes it switches. You just got to be able to handle. You got to be able to balance. Balance balance your mindsets pretty much. And look at today's fights. I mean, we got Glover Teixeira. I'm watching the fights as we're doing the interview right now. We got Glover Teixeira, who's actually from Connecticut, going up against Alexander Gustafsson, who's been through some crazy battles with John Bones Jones. Even Glover, man, at the top of his division. Both these guys at one point in their career got frustrated, you know, but they're still pushing forward, still trying to get to that title shot to fight DC or John Bones Jones. And as the fight's going on right now, I got to ask you, and by the time people hear this, they're going to know the outcome, but who are you favoring in that fight?
Oh, fuck, man. Okay, so, like, here's, like, probably the worst part about me as an athlete, you know, especially with, like, what my goals are, is, like, I really don't pay enough attention to the other fighters. Like, I don't really sit down and watch a lot of them because I'm busy on my own grind.
Yeah,
you know, it's not that I'm trying to, like, give any disrespect in any sort of regards, but like I love the sport. I'm extremely passionate and, you know, very focused on the path ahead, but I definitely don't sit there and evaluate other people as much as I probably should. And I know that's like part of the homework is understanding other people's paths of success. But yeah, man, I see this whole thing with DC and Bones Jones right now, and I'm just like, man, like there's a whole lot of shit talking for when we've already seen the proof in the pudding right there. And once Jones comes back, I mean, he's just such an animal. Like there's just nothing that can really get in that man's way. Like his mindset, his confidence, him just like his ability to go out there and fucking destroy anybody who's in front of him. Like, everybody else can keep grinding and talking shit and getting there, but at the end of the day, I think Jones is always going to walk away the champion as long as he can actually compete.
You know, and it's crazy how far MMA has come in the past couple of years. I mean, I remember when I was growing up, there were no MMA places. It was karate. That was the word that drew everybody in. It was karate. You know?
Right.
And now to see where the sport is, like last year my mom called me up and she was like, I want to order a pay-per-view. I need to figure out who Conor McGregor is, why I'm seeing this guy's name everywhere. And it's such an amazing thing. People, you know, love him or hate him. It brings a lot of attention to our sport. Even, what's her name? That Meryl Streep was even kind of bashing it. But at the same time, even though she was bashing it, it was bringing more eyes onto the sport, letting people know that it's being recognized at this day and time. You know, in 2017, this sport has come such a long way, and the girls are doing such an amazing job. Every time there's a girl fight on a UFC card, even Bellator, Invicta, I mean, those are the athletes that are really putting on, showing people that the girls can definitely stand and hang, and most of the time, it's going to be one of the best fights on the entire card. So my next question for you is, what is next for you? Do you have another match for Tough Enough coming up, or what can our fans expect from you?
Oh, fuck yeah. Well, coming up next, I have a title shot for Tough Enough on June 17th, and that's going to be in Vegas. That's their big show. I know they're going to have a lot of title fights on there. So, you know, even though we're all amateurs, like this is the show that people go pro off of. This is the one that the larger organizations really look at. So definitely looking forward to that. I'm going to the Worlds right now. I'm going to hop on a plane here in several hours for the Worlds out in California. And yeah, definitely UFC's coming up shortly. Nothing super official yet, but that is the direction that my life is going in. Like that's where I am heading. And listen to me, you guys. You got to speak life into this shit, man. Like, yes, it's happening. Yes, I've talked to the right people, but I have had my eyes on this since the day that they allowed females in there. Like this has been the goal. And it's what drives me. And man, you hit that nail right on the head when you said, like, everybody's talking about MMA nowadays. You know, even the haters are turning around and they're starting to give us more attention. So right now is the time for people to grind and make shit happen. The eyes are on us, and we all have to do our part as athletes to be the best athletes we can be and make shit exciting and get out there and fucking do it.
So one thing, and we don't have to get too deep into it, I see that you like to dance a lot. And we have a lot of people, like, I just literally posted your picture about 20 minutes ago, and I had about 5 messages like, who is that girl? She's absolutely gorgeous. And I can't wait to share your Snapchat because they're going to love what they're going to see on there. But where did this dancing come from? Did you always dance, like, as a young girl, or where did that come from?
So I'm an exotic entertainer, also known as a stripper, and I just love dancing. I've been doing that since I was 18 years old, and I've always done it with all the passion that I have, and music moves me, man. Like, music is like, it'll change your mood. It'll make you feel good if you're having a bad day. It'll, pump you up if you're on your way to the gym. Like, music is everything, and I just really, I'm so passionate about people just like feeling through everything. Like, I think
empathy,
if you can,
almost, right?
fuck yeah, like if you can get up and if you can just dance and just be yourself, even if you suck at it, it's like owning who you are, and so that's one thing that dance does for me. It's just like, if you've ever seen me compete, whether it's MMA, whether it's jiu-jitsu, I am dancing to warm up. Like, I am moving around and just having a good fucking time and love in life. And just, like, dancing just moves my whole soul, man.
And I was watching your Snapchat, the DJ with his nickname for you, the Snap, Crackle, Pop. I was getting a big crack out of that.
Yeah, he called my entertainer name is Athena, who is goddess of war and chaos and wisdom. And he calls me Athena Bobina Fofina, or Snap Crackle Pop.
Absolutely love it. I want to thank you so much for coming on Pure Evil MMA. We're going to have you come back on here because this was a great interview. Usually they last about 7 to 10 minutes. We've doubled the time already, and I have so many more questions for you, but we're going to have to save that for another time. I know that you have a lot to do today, but I really want to thank you for coming on Pure Evil MMA. Before we let you go, though, definitely give one more shout out of all of your social media contacts. If you have any sponsors, anything at all that you want anybody to know, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Eddie, for having me on here for Evil MMA. You guys seriously rock. Love this interview. Yeah, if you guys want to check me out, like he said, my Snapchat's usually some fire. Monster Demo. Instagram is Little Monster Demo. And Facebook is my name at Crystal Vanessa. It should pop up with the last name Demopoulos. But definitely want to give a shout out to GF Team, who has they've risen me through everything with jiu-jitsu. Ronin Training Center here in Columbus, Ohio. And currently I'm kind of also fighting out of SFS up in Michigan. They've been helping me a lot. And the Henzo team out in New York has been doing a lot for me too. So love all of them. And, it's a team effort.
And shout out to the land over there. Of course, Stipe's the champ. You got MGK in the land. So you're always doing a great job representing the land. just taking pride in it. That's one thing I love about Cleveland people, is just how much pride that you guys all have for
that's right.
For your communities there. Well, once again, thank you so much for coming on Pure Evil MMA, and have a great day and best of skill in your upcoming fight.
Thank you, Eddie. Have an awesome day.
All right, it's time to jump into a little bit of the MMA news going around this week. All right, so right off the bat, one of the biggest stories going around this week is definitely Cody No Love possibly pulled out of the fight with TJ Dillashaw. Now, these guys are both on that season Ultimate Fighter as the coaches for the redemption season. So does this take away any of the heat, any of the excitement? Are we going to see a drop in numbers? I don't think so. This season has been exciting, and if you haven't been watching, I totally recommend you tuning in, checking it out. It's a lot of familiar faces, people that were on past seasons of The Ultimate Fighter, and even guests that we've had on this show, like Hader Hassan, like Diego. Those two just fought last week. We're now on episode 6, and we are doing recaps for every single episode following at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Pure Evil MMA. It's a blast. We have the open and live chat room. But of course, now they're saying if Cody No Love isn't going to be fighting, they want to set up Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson to fight TJ Dillashaw. Now, people are saying that's a super fight. That is not a super fight. If TJ was a champion, then yeah, I guess it's a super fight, but it's still not like going to bring in over 1 million pay-per-view buys. I really don't think so. I don't see that happening. Both very exciting fighters. You ask me why people don't tune in for the Mighty Mouse pay-per-views. That's why they don't put them on anymore. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I really don't. TJ Dillashaw, he's been on a roll. He's only had that one blemish recently against Dominic Cruz in a fight that was very close. 5 rounds. And I actually scored it for TJ to win that fight. The judges gave it to Dominic Cruz. I did rewatch the fight the second time, and I did understand how they do that, but I do not recommend doing that And I would never tell you or change my my opinion. I really do think TJ won that fight. It's not fair that you get to rewatch it. But upon my rewatching of that fight, I did understand how they scored it for Dominic Cruz. But Dominic Cruz is not in the picture anymore, nor is he the champ. Cody No Love is the champ. If it was Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson versus Cody No Love, then I'd be excited. And there was talk about that. I don't think that's happening. And I don't think this TJ fight is going to happen either. I really don't. I think the best thing that both of these guys can do is just wait. Apparently, Cody said he can be ready by October. That's only a few months away. And if you're Cody No Love, I mean, you're the champ. So you need to recover. You need to make sure you're at the top of your game when you step back into the octagon to defend your title against TJ Dillashaw, former teammate. The story's there. It's going to be an exciting fight. We got to wait for it. What do you guys think about this? Should they match up DJ versus TJ? Is that a super fight? Let us know on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. Also in the news, guys, Bellator signs another big player onto their roster. Big country, Roy Nelson, who in my opinion never really got the respect that was really owed. I mean, we saw him on that season Ultimate Fighter with Rampage versus Rashad Evans. We had Brandon Schaub on that season. We had Kimbo Slice. We had a whole bunch of characters. James McSweeney. Who else did we have on there? We had the Big Pygmy was on there. It was an exciting season of Ultimate Fighter. And for some reason, Roy Nelson, who was the winner of the whole thing, was never given the respect from Dana White or the UFC. I mean, he's a huge star, but they could have made him into an even bigger star. I don't know what was going on with Roy Nelson, but he did have some issues with Dana White. We saw that on that season of Ultimate Fighter, but years and years gone by since then. You know, in his last fight, he kicked Big John McCarthy in his butt, which of course was a big issue. Dana White was really mad about it, but come on. He didn't want to inflict any more harm than he already did after knocking out Bigfoot. Bigfoot was out, lights out. And Big John McCarthy was like, nope, you got to finish him. So Roy Nelson jumped on top, finished him, and he was pissed about it. He didn't feel like he needed to do that. He felt like that fight was over. A lot of people did. But should he have kicked him in the butt? No. But Dana White was quoted saying that he's going to bury him. And now if we have any new MMA fans out there, any new combat sports fans out there, this is a boxing term that's used all the time. If somebody does something wrong and somebody says that they're going to bury him, it doesn't mean that they're going to get rid of him. It means that it's going to be a while before we see them back for a fight. And that's exactly what happened. We haven't seen Roy Nelson step back in there. I don't think. I mean, did he step back in there with Derek Lewis? No, I think that was after. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I do believe Roy Nelson's last fight was the Bigfoot fight. So Roy Nelson is now part of Bellator, which is a huge sign for them. This is really giving them a lot of leverage. The fighters are feeling more comfortable with going over there. And speaking of, this is a perfect segue for the next piece of the news. Rory McDonald just made his Bellator debut as he fought Paul Daly last weekend. And we had a couple of our listeners here that were actually there ringside or cage side at that event, took a lot of pictures for us. So thank you, Lisa, and a couple of other people that listen to the show were there as well. So shout out to the Pure Evil Army. But Rory McDonald, man, I was nervous for him. You know, we've seen a lot of fighters go over to Bellator and just fall apart. Look what happened to Benson Henderson. I was there for the Benson Henderson debut. He got destroyed round after round. All 5 rounds, Benson Henderson just whipping his hair back and forth. He whipped his hair back and forth. It was just... It was such an upset. You know, I was so excited. They gave him an immediate title shot. And he didn't pull through. So I was nervous about Rory McDonald, and I should have given him a little more respect. He's one of the most feared fighters, a very smart, technical fighter. He's been around for a long time. He beat Damian Maia, that epic fight that he had against Robbie Lawler. I'll never forget. A lot of our MMA fans here will never forget that fight. Absolutely brutal. And I'm talking about the second fight that they had. First fight was good. Second fight was even better. But Rory McDonald goes in there and absolutely destroyed Paul Daly. Paul Daly still got on the mic, though, and started calling out MVP. Now, remember, before this matchup with Rory McDonald, Paul Daly was rumored to be fighting MVP. That was the fight that everyone was aimed for, excited about. And I even said something about it. I didn't think Paul Daly needed that fight. I wanted to see MVP possibly get somebody different. I thought Paul Daly might destroy him, and I wanted to see him build up a little more. But There's a lot of people out there that think MVP just fights cans. So that would be a good step up in competition for him. And it looks like now they are going to be booking that fight. So what did you guys think about Rory McDonald's performance? And what is next for this guy? He's going to be the Bellator champ soon. That's what's going to happen. So let us know what you guys thought about Rory McDonald's performance at Pure Evil MMA on Twitter. And also, let us know what you think about Big Country signing with Bellator. This is definitely giving a lot of the fighters a lot more leverage now. So when their contracts are up and they say, well, I don't know, I might test free agent market. You know, especially the big stars. I mean, it doesn't really work for the smaller names, but especially for the bigger stars. Every time we see a contract up, Bellator is making a bid on it. And if you guys out there don't understand what happens when a fighter's contract is up, once a fighter is a free agent or their contract is up, Bellator, Invicta, whoever, Titan FC, whoever, if they want to make a bid on the fighter, they can. And the UFC can match that bid. If not, the fighter will then sign with the other company. So this is what's been happening a lot lately. And Bellator is picking up a huge roster. And the fighters are happy because there's no more monopoly anymore. What do you guys think about this? Let us know on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. Also in the news this week, Cyborg pops up a couple of times. And the main story with Cyborg is obviously with Magana. Now, there's a lot of people out there that don't like Angela Magana. I never had an issue with her. I enjoyed her on The Ultimate Fighter. Her and Beck are always goofing around. But Cyborg called her out for her shit. And this is a lesson for anybody out there that runs their mouth on social media. I'm kind of happy that Cyborg did this. There's a lot of people on social media that bully. Cyborg's always the butt end of the joke. Or, you know, your sister, your cousin, whoever. This is going on in high school. This is going on still in these people's 30s. This is going on. People talk shit on the internet, and when they see that person face to face, usually they don't say a thing. Well, Chris Cyborg was like, oh, that's funny. Oh, you were just talking shit about me. And the video dropped, and you guys should go check it out. Chris Cyborg confronts Angela Magana and shoves her. I mean, there were tweets going out saying that she was rocked, that she was dropped. None of that happened. It just looked like a shove. But now Magana is saying that she's going to sue her. What? What do you mean you're going to sue her? You were running your mouth on social media, and you got called out on your shit. You're a fighter on top of it all. You're a fighter. You have a whole bunch of fighters at this retreat after a heavy night of drinking, probably. I'm not saying everyone was. But after the Snoop Dogg concert, you know, everyone's getting a little more comfortable. Well, she got confronted. And when Chris Cyborg is mad, you don't want to be at the end of her anger. But I just don't think it's right that Magana's going to sue her. That's just crazy to me. And Magana actually just went on her friend Kobe Clay podcast. So you guys should go check that out at Kobe's Corner. And also Cyborg is in the news again this week because Jermaine Durandamy, the champ, featherweight champion, after just beating Holly Holm in a very controversial fight, is saying that she does not want to fight Chris Cyborg because she's a cheater. Now, I was getting a big kick out of a lot of you guys tweeting, Cyborg's a cheater? Were you the one punching after the bell? And I have to go against this. I mean, it is a little fishy that she was doing that. It does leave a salty taste in a lot of people's mouth, including mine. But the referee is supposed to get in between the fighters. It's hard to hear sometimes when the bell's going off if you're in the heat of the moment, you're throwing combos. You know, I might get heat for even saying that. A lot of you guys might not agree with me saying that, but honestly, the referee was the one that was supposed to get in between the fighters, especially after the first time it happened. Come on, man. Well, a lot of people are calling JDR the cheater, and they're saying that she's dodging Cyborg. There's a lot of people out there that dodge Cyborg, but JDR is saying that she's a cheater. She has a dirty past. So now the rumor is that they're trying to set it up with Megan Anderson, the Invicta FC champion, which doesn't make any sense to me really because that fight could have happened in Invicta. Cyborg left Invicta to come over to the UFC to fight in her own division that they opened up for her, but rushed for some reason. You know, this is really to blame on the UFC if they wanted Cyborg to be champion. They should have waited for Chris Cyborg to be ready. So the question is, who is JDR going to fight? Should they do a rematch with Holly Holm? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. You know, they haven't even really built this division up at all. It's really just a giant headache. But at the end of the day, it's not up to the champ. It's not up to JDR. It's up to the UFC to book the fight. She cannot turn that fight down. If they want to book that fight, they're going to book the fight. You know, I had the chance to interview JDR before her fight with Holly Holm. She's a wonderful girl. She's very funny, has a great personality, very motivated. She told me she's never even seen a UFC title in her life. So that moment when she was wrapped with the belt around her waist was definitely a moment that I took in. And a lot of people might think I'm biased in that fight, that I didn't think that those were late shots, this and that. That's not the case here. But I do believe that JDR needs to fight Chris Cyborg. That's the person to beat at 145. Show us that you're the true champ. And the crazy thing is, JDR, Jermaine Durandamy, used to work with a girl that actually beat Chris Cyborg in Muay Thai. She was on the show not too long ago. Jarina Barge. She's been on the show a few times here on Pure Evil MMA. Another person over there, another fighter over there in the Netherlands. You know, so we'll see what happens. But I really do believe that that is the fight that should happen. Or maybe Amanda Nunes will step up to fight Chris Cyborg. But then again, we want to see the champ fight Cyborg. This division was opened up for Chris Cyborg. What do you guys think of all this? Let us know at Pure Evil MMA on Twitter. Also in fight news, July 8th, we have a co-main event. Yoel Romero is going to go up against Robert Whittaker. I am totally pumped to see this fight. Robert Whittaker has just been on an absolute roll. I called it out last year that this is a young, hot prospect in a division of killers, and he's one of the youngest fighters in the division, and he's fighting at the top, in the elite. Well, now he's going to go up against Yoel Romero, who was originally supposed to be fighting the champ, which was put off because Michael Bisping and GSP have medical issues. So what is Yoel Romero supposed to do? Is this a risky fight? This kind of reminds me of the Damian Maia fight. What he had to do. You know, he beat everyone he needed to do. Everyone he needed to beat, whether it was Matt Brown, whether it was Carlos Condit, Jorge Masvidal. Well, not Jorge. He didn't fight him until his last fight. But he did everything that he needed to do to get that title shot, and the UFC kept putting him off. They matched Wonder Boy up, and now he's still waiting. You know, Damian Maia took the fight with Jorge Masvidal to buy time. It was a risky fight, but he won. So now Yoel Romero is going up against Whittaker, who's just been knocking dudes out left and right. I think this is a risky fight. I think this is a very risky fight for Yoel Romero. He's right there. Should he just wait a couple of months? Well, if he does that, then the fight might not even go through. Remember, they're still trying to book Bisping versus GSP. Is that fair? No, that's not fair at all. You know, that's not even GSP's weight division. And we're still not even sure if that fight's going to even go down. So why is it on hold? Well, Michael Bisping is saying that his knees hurt, so he can't even do the fight. So Yoel had no other choice but to take this. And now if he does beat Robert Whittaker, and I don't think he will, he has a great chance. I just don't see it happening. There's no way that the UFC can deny him anymore. So let's see what happens. That fight is going to be going down July 8th and our co-main event. Also, guys, to end the news off right here, just a quick recap on last week's UFC event. We had Stipe Miocic going up against JDS, knocking him out in the first round. Stipe is just on a tear lately, just sending people to their graves. People are saying JDS should retire. No way, man. Stipe has just been killing people, though. You know, people were saying Overeem should retire after that fight. So the real question is, who's next for Stipe? Do you guys want to see the Verdum fight? What do you want to see? You want to see the Overeem fight again? I don't want to see either of those fights. I want to see him fight Kane. Is that going to happen? We don't know, because Kane is out on an injury still. Or actually, he's actually suspended for that marijuana, I believe. He was trying to recover using some pot, which I don't mind. I'd rather have him using marijuana than pain pills. Seriously. I'd rather have him take marijuana than Tylenol, honestly. That's the fight that I want to see. And then we have Frankie Edgar going against Yair Rodriguez. This was a huge step up in competition for Yair. He really could have stunned the world and been a huge Mexican star if he was able to get past the answer of Frankie Edgar. Well, Frankie went in there and absolutely schooled him, took him to school, smothered him the entire fight, bloodied him up. It was an absolute mess. This sets Yair Rodriguez back a few steps, but he is not out of the picture completely. It just means, and I'm sure he learned a lot in this fight, it just means he needs a little more priming up to do. You know, they threw him right into the Wolf Den after that BJ Penn fight. They were really trying to build a star out of him. Oh, well, he just beat BJ Penn. He beat Andre Touchy-Fili with the flying knee. He's beat this one, that one. And now we're going to give him Frankie Edgar. And if he wins that, we'll give him a title shot against Jose Aldo. Come on. You're throwing him way too quick. You're getting a little too greedy. Now, that's not completely on the UFC. This is on his team as well. They thought they were confident Yair was going to be able to go in there and take on Frankie Edgar. People are forgetting Frankie Edgar's career. They might think that he's older now, but let's take a look. That fight that he had with Chad Mendes, I think that was almost 2 years ago now. Wow. Well, yeah, coming up on 2 years now for 2015 International Fight Week that we had. Chad Mendes versus Frankie Edgar. People were saying Chad Mendes was going to knock Frankie out or Frankie was going to win in decision. Frankie goes in there and just dropped Chad Mendes out cold, ice cold. Following that, he went up against Jose Aldo. Now, that was a very important fight. That was a rematch for him. He just couldn't get by Jose. Couldn't get by him. He was trying to work his game, work his leg movements. Jose was just landing the leg kicks, doing what Jose does best. I mean, people aren't giving Jose the credit he deserves either. That was the champion for 10 years before Conor McGregor came through. And we're going to talk about Jose Aldo versus Max Holloway at the end of the show, but still, just absolutely crazy to me that they thought Yair Rodriguez was ready for this. If maybe this time next year I'd say he was ready for this, I just think they threw him in there a little too quick. Joanna Jędrzejczyk gets the win over Jessica Andrade. 5-round massacre. She won every single round on my card. She's killing everybody. So who's next for her? Rose Namajunas? Who's next for her? What do you guys think about this? Let us know on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. All right, we have a fun guest about to come on the show right now. He's calling in Erion Zethko, who has an upcoming fight against Scott Etling at SHamrock FC 290 going down June 2nd. Let's pull him in. We got Erion Zethko here joining us, 1-1 bantamweight. What's going on, Erion? How are you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Just ended the work day. Doing it pretty wisely, talking to you.
So you made your debut not too long ago, beating one of Jackson's Wing Zone's Trevor Ward by submission in the second round. Well, how did that feel, man, getting that pro win?
Honestly, it was something that we knew was going to happen. I mean, yeah, Trevor trained at Jackson Winklejohn, but we took into account, his body type, the fact that he fought at 125 a lot, and he was bumping up to 135 to try to reinvent his career. And we just all, when I say we, I mean me and my coaches, we just thought that it was a bad decision on his part. If you look at the way he fights, I'm a bad stylistic matchup. He likes to, have guys sit in his guard and just throw up submission attempts, and I'm pretty good on top, and I was able to just capitalize with overwhelming pressure. So it went exactly how we thought it would go.
Well, and then in your last fight, it was your first professional loss, or even amateur loss, in a very close split decision against Demetrius Wilson, Shamrock FC 279. What have you been doing since that fight?
Honestly, that fight, it was big for me. It's like you said, it was my first loss ever in 6 years that I've been in MMA. It was the first time I've tasted defeat, and there was one of two ways I could look at it. I could either, sit there and say, it was a really close split decision. If I would have done this, maybe I could have, squeaked by and got the win. But what I did instead was say to myself, I shouldn't be getting split decisions. I shouldn't be making these fights so close. So one of the things I did was just sit down and evaluate how I fight, evaluate the mentality of how I go into a fight, how I calculate what my opponents are going to do, and how I think I should counter whatever movements or whatever thought processes they bring. The issue with me in fighting was, I know that I'm well-rounded, and I know I'm good everywhere. I can box with the boxers, I can grapple with the grapplers, but I need to understand and kind of pick that easy path to victory. With Trevor Ward, it was taking him down and having a gritty, high-pressure fight because he was taller and longer than me. With Demetrius, it should have been the opposite. It should have been standing and just picking him apart with my jabs and my crosses because I was the taller, longer fighter. Instead, I was content going to the ground with him, and we had a various grappling exchanges. Lots of submissions were being thrown. In the first round, I had a lot of success with my stand-up, and I had rocked him early. And then I kind of just strayed from that path because I was content to go wherever the fight led instead of dictating where the fight should go based on my opponent's weaknesses. Yeah. So I learned a lot from that fight as a man and as a fighter.
So I gotta ask you this: you originally, when you were an amateur, you were fighting as a featherweight, and then you changed to bantamweight. What went into that? Making that change?
I fought at all weights. I fought at 55, 35, and 45.
Oh, wow.
I'm planning on cutting down to 25 one of these days too, whenever I kind of clean up the divisions here. Dude, I'll be honest with you, weight classes have never mattered to me. I always fight the guys that I think are going to be good fights. I mean, in a lot of ways, when the amateurs around me ask me what they should do as a professional, I tell them don't ask me, because I do all the things you shouldn't do. As a pro, especially starting out, you want to kind of pick easy fights to pad your record. Let's be honest, that's what you want to do. You want to get to that 3-0, 4-0. But instead, what I decided to do was bump up to any weight class to fight the big fights. When I was 8-0 as an amateur, I fought Cortavius, who was a well-known amateur around here in St. Louis for this spinning wheel knockout. And everyone was afraid of him. I bumped up and took him out. And then I fought 2 weeks after that at 145 again and took another promotion's 145-pound belt. When I went pro, I fought Trevor Ward, who had over 7 or 8 professional fights, and that was my professional debut, And then I turned around and fought 4-1 Demetrius Wilson 2 months after. So, if you were a friend of mine, I'd tell you to do the opposite of what I'm doing. But for me, man, and the reason why I'm fighting Scott Etling coming off a loss, and he's 4-1, is because I need fights to excite me for me to want to do it. For me, some guys do this because they need an athletic outlet. Some guys do it because they need the money. I do it because I like to fight. I do it because I like to push myself mentally and physically. And I like to see who I am as a person. A lot of guys want to go in there and say that they're fighters, but they don't want to be in a fight. They just want to get in, get a quick win, and get out and post some stuff on social media. Me, I love that shit. I really do, man. I love everything about fighting. I love being in there. I love being uncomfortable, and I love making other people uncomfortable. So, I can't wait. This is what I love to do.
Well, June 2nd is right around the corner, and I got to ask, what kind of style does Scott have?
He's just your typical, he likes to fight off his back grappler. He's a big 35er, so I know he's going to be strong, in the first round, and that's kind of been his strength. I like to think that I have Scott Etling down to a science. He's fought a lot of guys that aren't too keen on jiu-jitsu, and what he's been able to do is lull them into a sense of security. The guys will start off striking with Scott, and Scott might pull guard or shoot a shitty takedown just to pull guard, and the guys will be content with staying in his guard. Well, that's where Scott likes to fight. Scott likes when you're on top in his guard, because his 2 submissions that he likes to throw are triangles and arm bars, and to his benefit, he's 4-1. Because of that style of fighting. But, you know what I mean? That cut for him is tremendous. He's cutting 30 pounds. And I know that all I need to do is just pressure this guy, tire him out, and then in rounds 2 and 3, he's going to be easy pickings. This is going to be my fight to take because he's never been in a real fight. In all of his professional fights, it's either been first-round finishes or second round, really quick into the second round. He doesn't have what it takes to be in there in a back-and-forth gritty fight. And I think what I just showed in my Demetrius fight is I don't stop. I do not stop. I'm always in the fight. I'm always in a position to where I can reverse you or change it up or get you in a submission. Or with me, there is no safety spots. You're not safe on the feet. You're not safe on the ground. You're always fighting. And I don't think he's ready for that. I don't think he's ever fought a fighter as capable as I am.
So you just brought up that you don't want to get back in the position of ending up sending it back to the judges. So do you see this fight going a certain way?
Second round TKO. I'm going to finish this man. He's not going to have what it takes to stay in there with me. I guarantee it. I will break him.
So after this fight, what do you like to do to celebrate? Win or lose, what do you usually do afterwards?
I don't actually, dude. I'm weird, man. To me, this is all like a journey. You know what I mean? Like, I never really. The only real fight that I actually celebrated was the end of my amateur career, because we kind of put a cap on that and said goodbye to those times and hello to the new times.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm trying to fight 3 or 4 times a year, homie. I'm not trying to, sit there and celebrate and get fat and all this other stuff. I'm trying to get in fight to fight to fight to fight. The only reason I took a break from this fight for so long was simply because, no one stepped up. We were trying to get a fight at 125, couldn't do it. And then finally, Etling said, like, yo, I want to fight it in the summer. And, I said, yeah, I'll take him on. So it was just like a conflict of scheduling. It's not like I didn't want to fight right after a loss. For me, if I win, it's on to the next. And if I lose, it's on to the next. I'm going to have so many fights in my life. I'm only 24 years old. I'll start celebrating when I start making good money. How about that?
Yeah, it sounds good to me, man. So who are you training with down there? I was checking out your Twitter, and I saw there's a couple of fighters that are familiar. Who are some of the fighters that you've been training with?
Actually, it's funny. I've been doing a lot of cross training for this fight, just because of Scott's body type. Height and reach are the 2 main advantages in this fight. And Scott's a tall, lengthy fighter, so I've been kind of just trying to find whoever in St. Louis can kind of mimic his style. But more specific to the question, so we have like Ashley Cummins, who's actually like an Invicta, believe, strawweight fighter now. She's ranked top 10 in the world, I think number 10. And she just came off an impressive victory against Amber Brown. And she's actually, funny story, she's my roommate. We live together, so it's kind of nice having a prolific fighter like that be your roommate, because a lot of times when you leave the gym, there aren't any eyes on you. If I want to go out and have a beer, if I want to kind of slip off the wagon, so to speak, I can do that and no one would know. But unfortunately, I can't, because when I come home, it's like I'm bringing the gym with me.
Yeah.
But she's awesome, man. She's one of my main grappling partners. She's a 4-stripe blue belt, about to get her purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and she's just an awesome person to train with and just have around. She's super knowledgeable about the sport, and sometimes it's nice to have someone who's been in here for 10 plus years kind of give you some of their knowledge. Also, I have like Andrew Ebers, who's also a fighter for SHamrock FC. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's actually my head coach / jiu-jitsu coach. And honestly, he's the one that has been getting me most prepared for this fight, because like I was telling you, Scott Etling's going to be bigger and stronger than me. So what do I need to do? I need to roll with guys that are bigger and stronger than me, and who better than a 200-pound black belt? If he can't sub me, Scott's not getting shit.
Well, you know what? Shamrock FC has been putting on so many amazing cards. I just saw that you recently re-signed with Shamrock FC for a multi-fight deal. If you don't mind, how many fights did you sign for?
Yeah, so the original deal was for 3 fights, and that will basically eclipse after this one. And actually, I approached them. I was like, listen, man, a lot of guys, negotiate from a perspective of power. Like, I'm on 2 fights winning. I didn't negotiate the re-signing until after I lost. I said, listen, this is an opportunity for me to kind of see where you guys value me. What do you think I'm worth? And it was kind of like an open-ended question for them to see, like, do they truly respect me? Are they manipulating? I re-signed with Shamrock FC simply because Jesse Finney and Rob Donaker, those 2 guys, have treated me with absolute respect. They respect and admire me the same way I respect and admire them. And I think, in today's age where everyone's kind of like bashing the UFC for this, that, and the other, I always think it's funny how the guys at the top never do. Like, I might not be at the top of the sport, but one of the things I like to think I do well is understand the financial and the promotional aspect, as well as the athletic / fighting aspect. And so do they. They know exactly what I go through, and they acknowledge it and respect it. And I know what they have to go through, and I acknowledge it and respect it. So when we came to negotiations for re-signing, it lasted all of like 5 minutes. We saw eye to eye on everything, and I couldn't be happier to re-sign with them and not have to worry about what I'm going to do for another, so basically the re-signing was 3 fights, so 3 + 1. I have another 4 fights with Shamrock. after this, I'll have a 3-fight deal again.
Yeah, Jesse, man, we've had him on the show a couple of times. He has a true passion for the sport and speaks very highly of his fighters. But you were just saying you wanted to fight 3 times this year, you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to fight after I beat Etling. I'd like to fight in September, and then I'd like to fight hopefully like October and December. Dude, listen, with the way I train, I train smart. I take recovery as my number one. If I don't feel like I should train today, I don't. You know, I can always go do cardio. I can always go do my own thing. I can get a workout in. But you got to listen to your body, and I think that's something I do very well, and that's why I'm able to stay so active. You know, nothing gets hurt because I don't let anything get hurt. I don't train like an idiot. I don't spar like an idiot. You know, I don't roll like an idiot. So I'm healthy. I'm 100% all the time. So that's one of the things that I kind of tell amateur fighters, like, listen, if you're going in there and it's like a battle every day, you're not training in the right environment. Your body's going to break down, and you're not going to be ready for the fight. I already know how to fight. You know, I can sharpen the toolkit as much as I want, but I already know the fundamentals of fighting. All I need to do now is make sure that, you know, mentally I'm there and physically my body can keep up with the kind of pace that I want to put on.
Now, that's something I've been hearing a lot lately from a lot of the fighters about training smarter, not doing such hard sparring and stuff like that. And I think it's just an evolution of the sport, you know, people understanding, you know, that they really need to take care of your body. But you know what? June 2nd is right around the corner, and we are looking forward to your fight for SHamrock FC 290. And we got to leave you off with this one last question. What can everybody expect when they tune in?
Like I said in the interview, and sorry for cursing, but expect a fucking fight. I don't come in there to, you know, play the bullshit, so to speak. I come in there, I'm trying to put my fist in your face, I'm trying to slam you on the mat and sub you. One of the two things, you know, last fight was a decision. I guarantee you, with the way he fights and the way I fight, there's no way. I personally, I finish him in the second. TKO. I'm calling it.
We're looking forward to it. What we like to do at this point in the interview is hand the imaginary microphone over to you. If you have any sponsors, shout-outs, you want to wish your opponent best of skill, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We have our own podcast. I have my own podcast with another professional fighter, Jordan Dowdy. We are on Facebook Live every Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, and we just kind of interview / talk to all the local guys, you know, when SHamrock has fights and Gateway Fighting Series. So 2 Pros Know on Facebook. That's me, basically sponsoring myself. And then I also have sponsors like Sub-Zero Cryotherapy, Pristine Presence Float Center. I have GMP Beard Oil. I also have Amdocs. I have the Wolf's Den Training Center. I have Tipsy Peddler. I have, you know, if I'm forgetting anyone, I'm sorry. I have Diablo Ink Tattoos. They're the gentlemen that make sure that I actually look like a fighter and not just talk like one. And that's the majority of them, man. They're all super awesome people, and it's kind of nice whenever you're sponsored by like a product that you actually use or can relate to, because then when people talk to you about it, you can actually give them like meaningful, insightful feedback. Like, this is something I would definitely recommend. You know, one of the things I always say is, you know, money's nice, but don't take on a sponsor that you wouldn't necessarily use yourself. And I can honestly say that all the sponsors that I have, from the recovery to the tattoo artist to the financial backing, they're all great people, and I've been blessed to have a great group of people around me.
Well, we definitely got to check out that podcast. We just had Jordan on a couple of weeks ago, so we're definitely going to check it out. What was the name of that podcast one more time?
2 Pros Know. It's simple, man. You know, it's an hour long. All we kind of do is we have a guest every week, and we just kind of talk about all the things that are going on in the Midwest MMA like scene, and then as well as, you know, any big stories like your Conor McGregor, Mayweather / you know, UFC cards and Bellator cards. So it's nice. It's an hour of just kind of shooting the stuff with the friends, and so far I think we're like on episode 30. So as long as we keep having viewers, we'll keep doing it. It's a product of passion right now, not really anything else.
Well, we will definitely go check it out, and we want to wish you best of skill come June 2nd. Thank you for coming on Pure Evil MMA.
Thank you, boss. It was an honor.
All right, guys, we got one more interview coming your way with Adam Meredith, but first, I think it's time to announce our members of the week for the Pure Evil Army. Minion, you there, brother?
The Pure Evil MMA army is taking over, uniting fans, followers, MMA fighters and elite evil family contributors from all over the world. And this is a call to all MMA fans. Your opinions count and we want to hear from you. Use hashtag PureEvilMMA on Twitter or leave a comment on any video or article on the Facebook page or YouTube channel. Find your voice and come join the ranks of the Pure Evil MMA army. Like these soldiers of the week, ready to receive a shout-out salute from Evil Eddie himself.
Thank you, Minion. This week, I have to give a huge shout-out to Pat and Erica Renee. You are this week's Pure Evil Army's Members of the Week. And if you want to have your name announced on next week's show, anyone out there, all you got to do is engage with us on Twitter using hashtag PureEvilMMA or tagging me at PureEvilMMA. Join the conversation of the fights, ask us questions from the podcast, anything at all. And you can have your name announced on next week's episode of Pure Evil MMA. But congratulations to Pat and Erica Renee for being our Members of the Week. Before we jump into our next interview, guys, I just want to remind everybody that we have some Pure Evil MMA t-shirts for sale up on our Facebook page, so make sure you guys go follow us on Facebook, give us a like at Pure Evil MMA, and on Twitter. You can find it, it's at Pure Evil MMA on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. I try to make it as easy as possible. You see a lot of these shows using all different tags and stuff like that. It's just too confusing. All you got to do is go on your Facebook right now and press at Pure Evil MMA. Give us a like, give us a review. But we have the t-shirts for sale. It will help us out so much to get some new equipment here in the studio and set the studio up a little nicer for you guys that tune in to our video cast. It would be a huge help, guys. And I want to thank everybody who has purchased t-shirts already. Thank you guys so much. And before we jump into the next interview, I just want to read off a couple of these iTunes reviews that I see. This is a review from Kevin BPDX, who gave us 5 stars and wrote, "I am glad I stumbled onto this podcast. I love the fight talk and breakdown." And then we had Grohl, XXGROHLXX, says, "Evil Eddie, Pure Evil MMA podcast are the best. Wouldn't want to watch any other." And we had one more from Miesha Tate. Doubt it's the real Miesha Tate. "This show is the highlight of my week. It's like he's directly talking to you while I'm at work or on my way to work. I want to meet Evil Eddie so bad. I love his trademark, behave yourselves, at the end of every show. Ted Check is funny as well." Thank you guys so much for the reviews. And don't forget, we're going to be doing a giveaway. All you got to do is go on iTunes, rate us, and give us a review. And I'm going to be taking 2 of you guys to win the Rick Glenn, the Gladiator Glenn, who has an upcoming fight pretty soon. I'm going to be mailing you his original official shirt. It's not the Reebok kit. It's his official shirt that he sent to us here at Pure Evil MMA. So if you want your chance to win it, all you got to do is simply go to iTunes, give us 5 stars and a rating. I'm going to give it to the most honest review that we see. So you don't got to lie. I want you to be honest. If there's something you don't like, if there's something that you want to see on the show, if there's something that's missing, anything at all, tell us you hate the show. Tell us anything at all, and you can have a chance to win one of these t-shirts. All right, so let's jump into our next interview. We got Adam Meredith, who also has an upcoming fight for SHamrock FC 290 going down June 2nd. Let's check it out. All right, guys, I got our next guest of the night joining us for the second time here on Pure Evil MMA. So welcome back, Adam Meredith, who has an upcoming fight June 2nd for SHamrock FC 290. Now, first off, Adam, last time that we spoke, I think it was back in December, you're about to fight Zach. What have you been up to since then?
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me back. Since fighting Zach, just been back in the gym training, trying to sharpen some skills and get better. After that fight, I felt fine, so I tried to take a short notice fight and ended up getting injured in practice, so it kind of sidelined me for a couple months while I was healing up. But now I'm healthy and just been training.
Well, prior to that fight that you had with Zach, you on a 4-fight winning streak. What are you doing to get your head back into that place, that winning mentality? I see that you've been posting a lot of inspirational quotes. Is that like something that you like to do to boost morale?
Yeah, I try to stay pretty positive in my mindset. So I have a Instagram page for some of the motivational side of things, and I got my personal Instagram page. It's where you can kind of get to know me a little bit more personal and kind of the silly side. But yeah, no, I mean, the fight with Zach was, I mean, it's a good learning lesson. You know, I felt great going into that fight, but you know, he stayed calm whenever I had a favorable position. He worked through it. So I mean, it's a good learning lesson. Just to build off of it. This next guy I'm fighting, Shell. He's a good fighter. He's pretty well rounded, I feel. So he presents he presents some threats. So I'm just trying to build off that last fight and just focus on this next one and just come sharper than I've ever been.
So I also see that you got two little ones that are kind of getting into the MMA game, or jiu-jitsu, I should say, soccer. You know, they're turning into little athletes. Is this something that, you know, you thought your children would always do, or are they your children first off?
Yeah, no, those are my kids. I got them in. Yeah, I mean, sports are important. I feel like challenging yourself is important. So yeah, I got them in soccer and jiu-jitsu right now. Jiu-jitsu, I feel like jiu-jitsu and wrestling are two of the best skills to possibly learn. Just because like the body control and the self-defense aspect. So I wanted them in jiu-jitsu just to learn how to defend themselves in the long run. Whether or not they decide to compete with it or take it very far is totally up to them. But I at least wanted them to have the basic body mechanics and kind of learn that skill, which a lot of people don't have. They have no control over their own body. It's crazy.
Well, not only that, like I learned more in my karate classes growing up than I really did in school, with like how to deal with people, really, you know, how to deal with yourself and you know, walking around with your head up high and being a good person. But I got to ask you this, they obviously know that you're a fighter. Do they watch your fights?
Well, they don't watch my fights really. They know I fight. They oftentimes they'll see some of the repercussions if I come home with a black eye or, you know, some stitches or something. But like I don't really let them watch any fights. I did let them see one of my fights. I think I was watching. I was rewatching like my fight against Manny Moraz. And they just happen to see me watching it, and I let them watch it. But like, they don't go to fights or see them live or anything like that.
Are they into like WWE or anything? Or at least you know, giving them that or anything?
No, I mean I don't have cable, so I mean they're into Power Rangers and
oh hell yeah,
and they're always, here's the thing, so they don't go to any fights with me live, but I mean they've grown up in the gym, so it's not foreign. I mean, they see me spar a lot, so I mean, they probably see me fight more than the average for sure, because I mean, they see me sparring, they see me drilling, they see me do jiu-jitsu. I mean, they see all of that, so they see all the behind the scenes. They just don't ever get to see the show part. It's probably a little bit more violent than I want to expose them to. Maybe it's just because of the personal aspect. I don't want them to have to see me go through that, at least at this young of an age.
Well, you just brought up Power Rangers, so I'm guessing that you brought them to go see the new movie, right?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. I don't know if that was more for me or them, but we definitely saw it.
How was it, man? Because I haven't had a chance to see it. You know, one of my favorites growing up as a kid, watching the Power Rangers, and then of course one of the Rangers is in MMA. The White Ranger is I can't remember his name, but yeah. How was the movie though?
No, yeah, the movie was cool. I mean, kids enjoyed it, and I feel like they did the show justice. I mean, it was cool. I had no complaints, man. I don't have high bars, but it was entertaining, and the kids liked it, so it was cool.
Well, I saw that you've been pretty creative lately. I saw that you made a Tinder account to promote your fight.
Yeah, man, just get the eyes out there. I feel like that app, especially here in St. Louis, is pretty worthless. I mean, at least for me anyway. So, I mean, I feel like I might as well take advantage where I can, get creative with the marketing.
I thought that was genius. I definitely got a laugh out of that. And another thing, I was, you know, viewing your, I was scrolling through, kind of stalking your Facebook page, and I saw that you were just at the dentist and that you lost feeling in your eyelid. What's up with that? How did that happen?
Oh no, I just they did like this deep cleaning on my gums or whatnot, and they just had to numb my mouth, and just I guess that was normal. I said my eye feels numb. They said yeah, that's supposed to happen. So yeah, just the joys of mouth care, I guess, good hygiene.
It's like I don't know if you guys have Lyme disease out there, but out here in Connecticut, I mean it's from Connecticut, where the ticks bite you. You lose feeling in your face, and that actually happened. So when I saw that before I even read it, I was like, what's going on? Has he got Lyme disease? Like, oh no.
Yeah, no, Lyme disease is huge in the East Coast up in your area, isn't it? Fortunately, we don't have there have been some cases in Missouri, but it's definitely not as bad as your area. So no worries like that. Just a little temporary numbing of the face.
Yeah,
dentist work.
It's crazy, man. Yesterday I pulled a tick off of my puppy that was literally the size of a grape. I was so skeeved out. I can't stand ticks. They scare the shit out of me.
Oh yeah. No, I was a kid like growing up in the backwoods, and I mean we had ticks here in Missouri, so I know the drill. Always do the tick checks, and I've seen some of them. They get big and gray and pussy, and then it's gross, man. It's gross.
It's so skeeved out. But for anybody that's tuning into this interview right now on Pure Evil MMA podcast, what can they expect when they tune in to watch you fight Chael Erwin Davis?
Man, they can definitely expect to see the best Adam Meredith that you guys have ever seen. I'm not taking Chael lightly by any means. I feel like if anything, he's going to make me step up my game to a level to where I'm going to perform, how I feel like I should be performing. I'm definitely going to step things up and come strong and try to finish him.
And before we let you go, I have to ask you this one last question. Bellator 180/New York City is coming up soon. And of course, we got Vanderlei on that card versus Chael Sonnen. I gotta, pick your brain on that. Who are you leaning towards in that fight?
Man, I really don't. To be honest, I don't really care about either one of those fighters. I understand they had their place and time, but Vanderlei is just a guy who likes to go in there and knock the shit out of people. And Chael Sonnen is just good at selling tickets. Not to say he's not a fantastic wrestler, but obviously they're both past their primes. It's just it's a fan fight for sure.
Yeah.
If anything, I just see Chael taking Vanderlei down and controlling that situation. If anything, on that card, I'm more excited about my teammate Zach Freeman is fighting Pico on that card. So that's what I'm excited about. If anything, when it comes to that card, obviously a lot of great matchups on that card. Don't get me wrong, but. I'm most excited about my teammate stepping up to the big show and fighting that MSG and taking on a tough young dude in Pico.
Have you been to New York before? Because I know that, SHamrock FC, they have events down there. They don't really, go out of their zone. But have you been to New York? I mean, they did allow amateurs to fight for a while in New York.
No, I personally haven't. I've actually had some teammates fight in the New York area, but I haven't been up there personally. Not even for like personal or for fighting. So definitely want to make it up to that to the whole East Coast and Northeast specifically and visit, but haven't made it up there just yet.
Well, it's going to be exciting once June 2nd comes around for SHamrock FC 290. Adam, I really want to thank you for coming back on Pure Evil MMA. You know what we like to do at this point. I hand the imaginary microphone over to you. If you have any sponsors, shout outs, you want to wish your opponent best of luck, skill, or your social media, of course, guys, follow him at ImposedWill on Twitter and Instagram. But you said you had 2 Instagram accounts. What's the other one?
Yeah, so the Imposed Will is kind of more the positivity aspect, and then the other one you can just check me out. It's at @Meredith_. That's just kind of one more personal page, less motivational. Or check me on Snapchat at the Adam Meredith. I think I updated my Twitter too. It's also @Meredith_. So that's the place to find me.
And of course, if you have any sponsors, shout outs, anything at all, the floor is now yours, Adam.
Hey, yeah, well, first, thanks for having me back, man. Always a pleasure to talk with you. No real shout-outs. Just, it's like to thank, my family and friends and my teammates and coaches and, everybody at St. Charles MMA and Team Boggy. That's all I really have, man. Just thanks for having me, and I hope everybody tunes in and checks out the show.
So we have a whole bunch of fights booked throughout the next couple of weeks here. June 3rd, we got UFC 212, which we're going to look into in just a second here, but I just want to fast forward into the future. After that, June 10th, check this out, and I'm looking forward to this one. June 10th, we have UFC Fight Night free on FS1, Derek Lewis versus Mark Hunt. It's going down. That's going to be a blast. And then June 17th, which is actually my birthday week, we got Holly Holm versus Zethko Who. A lot of people are siding with Holly on this one, and I agree. And we're going to talk about it when we get up closer to the fight. But Betch has a chance here. It would be awful if Holly Holm lost 4 fights in a row. Would the UFC let her go, though? I don't know. She has such star power from that one win over Ronda Rousey. And this is no bash on Holly Holm. When she came into the UFC, she was winning the fights, but nothing too exciting. But when she went in there against Ronda Rousey, it was just magic. Everything was just perfect to the T, like a science. Holly Holm looked amazing in that fight. But then she had that fight with Valentina Shevchenko, the Miesha Tate fight. It just all went to hell for her. And then recently she had a chance to redeem herself and become the featherweight champion of the world if she got past JDR. She couldn't do that. She honestly started looking better at the end of that fight. I know people say that, the late shots or whatever had an effect on the fight. Holly Holm started looking better as that fight went on. Let's be real. So that fight is going to be coming up June 17th. And then live and free on FS1, June 25th, we got, and I'm excited about it, they're just at the presser. Don't you talk about my mama. We got Michael Chiesa versus Lee going down. Both these guys have only lost twice in their career. They're pretty much identical records there. 14-2 for Michael and 15-2 for Lee. It's going to be an exciting one. I'm honestly leaning towards Lee. Also on that card, we got Tim Boat versus Johnny Hendricks. Felice Herrig is on that card against Kish. Tim Means versus Garcia. BJ Penn versus Dennis Seaver. Further down on that card, which I think is a little sad there. Latifi versus Little Nog. Clay Guida back in there against Cook. And then the former champ, Carlos Esparza, goes up against Marilyn Monroe. So that is a very fun fight coming up. And then July 7th. And out of all of these fights, I really am waiting for this one. Justin Gaethje, coming over from World Series of Fighting as their champion, goes up against Michael Johnson. This is going down at the T-Mobile Arena, live and free on FS1. This is going to be the Ultimate Fighter finale. Following that, July 8th, with this is International Fight Week we're getting into, obviously, Valentina Shevchenko is going to be headlining, going up against the champ, Amanda Nunes. The next day, July 16th, or the next week, Gunnar Nelson versus Ponzinibbio. July 22nd, we got former champ Chris Weidman going up against no other than the young gun himself, Kelvin Gastelum. That is going to be an exciting one. So we got a whole bunch of these fights coming up that we can just cream our pants over. And then we got UFC 214 to top it all off at the end of July. DC versus Jones 2, the rematch. So guys, I'm just so excited. This is when this year turns up in MMA. There's a lot of you guys out there that haven't been too happy with, the fight so far this year, what's been going on. Well, we have a lot to look forward to here. And those are just the headlines. I mean, if we break those cards down for you right now, there's a lot of big stars on those cards. So definitely tune in every week because we're going to be doing the pregame show and also the recaps following every event. But coming up, UFC 212 June 3rd, Jose Aldo, the champ, the only champ the UFC ever had in the featherweight division at 145 pounds until Conor McGregor stepped up. He's going to be going against Holloway, who's been on an absolute tear. He's the interim champ right now, just beat Showtime Pettis. Last time Holloway lost was also against Conor McGregor, going on 3 years now, maybe almost 4. No, I think about 3. Also on this card, in our co-main event, the number 1 and 2 contenders in the strawweight division, Claudia Gadelha going up against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Then we have Vitor Belfort versus Nate Marquardt, and what's going to be Vitor's last fight in the UFC. He might go to Japan, he might go to Bellator. We don't know what he's going to do, but he's not finished. And then Pure Evil MMA's own Owale Bamboje is going up against Burak Chachia, who's undefeated right now. This is going to be a very exciting fight. Bamboje was supposed to have that fight with Tim Means not too long ago. He was also supposed to fight Josh Salmon, who passed away. So we're going to try to get Owale back on the show this week. Very exciting interview that he always puts on. So we'll see what we can do. Also on this card, former World Series of Fighting champion Marlon Morales goes up against Rafael Assunção, jumping right into the deep water of the division. You know, this is a protege of Frankie Edgar Morales, so I was able to catch his last fight at World Series of Fighting on New Year's Eve at Madison Square Garden. This is going to be an exciting fight, and Assunção is the son of a bitch. You know, let's not forget that fight that he had with TJ Dillashaw. Not the recent one, but not too long ago. I mean, this guy's only 34 years old. He has amazing BJJ. His Muay Thai is good. Great defense. He's always looking to push the action. He just puts on exciting fights, man. And he just beat Aljamain Sterling. Last time he lost was UFC 200 against TJ Dillashaw on the rematch. He beat Brian Caraway, Pedro Munoz, Vaughn Lee. Who else did he beat? Johnny Eduardo. You know, there was a time when, when he was fighting like Faber and stuff like that where I wasn't too big of a fan, but Assunção disappeared for a little while after he beat TJ Dillashaw. He came back, didn't win against TJ Dillashaw in the rematch, but he looked great against Aldo. He looked absolutely amazing. So we'll have to see what the former champ Morales can do and see how he does in this fight, because this is a big one for him coming over from World Series of Fighting to see where he's placing himself. Then we have Eric Spicely against Carlos Jr. You guys remember Eric Spicely from the season Ultimate Fighter. We have Johnny Eduardo versus Lopez on this card as well. Alcantara is on this card versus Keller. And then Jamie Moyle going up against Pereira. You know, we interviewed Jamie Moyle right before her debut fight, which was a very bloody fight. You know, she's a very well-rounded fighter, Jamie Moyle. And she just beat Kellen Curran back in December for the Ultimate Fighter Season 24 finale. You know, I think that Jamie Moyle has fantastic striking. You know, but what can Vivian bring to the table? She also has striking power. You know, but on top of it all, her grappling is on point. Let's not forget, she just came off that win against Valerie Letourneau at UFC 206. A lot of you guys probably don't remember. This girl's undefeated. This is a very tough fight for Jamie Moyle. I'm going to be making my official picks, and I'm going to be doing the pregame show on YouTube, guys. So make sure you check it out if you want to see the full predictions for UFC 212 and put some bets on it. We've been doing pretty well lately, so you do not want to miss it. And that gets us to the end of our show here at Pure Evil MMA. And I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. If you are new to the show, make sure you guys subscribe down below. We do this every single week. We got the giveaway going down. I want to thank our guests, Vanessa Demopoulos, Adam Meredith, and Erion Zethko for joining us today. Let us know what you think about the Roy Nelson news, the Cyborg news. Let us know at Pure Evil MMA on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. I had a blast. Love being here in my studio. Shout out from the East Coast, New Haven, Connecticut. I'm Evil Eddie. Behave yourselves, guys.